Good morning. It's Daily Dose with Dr. Lazar, and we had a phenomenal show last night with Del Bigtree. I'm coming to you live today. Want to make sure that I'm sharing that win. We had an awesome conversation about COVID-19, about censorship, about 5G, about mandatory vaccines, and freedom of healthcare choice. And so, for all of those of you that tuned in, thank you so much for that. We are just thrilled at the turnout we had and the buzz that created of just sharing truth. We always say here that the truth will do. So today I want to share an encouraging story with you. It's very, very personal. I can see your chat, so if you're watching this live, please go ahead and jump on the chat there so that I can answer any questions or respond. So we drove down to Tennessee. We really missed going to church, and our church in Michigan is a very large church, so we're not allowed to be open yet. And so we traveled down to Tennessee so that we could go worship corporately and be in church down there. Had a wonderful experience. And my wife Carrie posted something after that with the hashtag #ButGod that some really cool things that God did. So I am going to do hashtag #ButGod right now in the chat so that will tag this video appropriately. But what I wanted to share with you, and I have a series of these that I'm going to be sharing over our next few daily doses. And so today's story is about a time where I was in chiropractic school. Carrie and I were married for about 2 years when we found out we were pregnant with our daughter, and that was not our plan. Now, before you throw jokes at us, yes, we're aware of how this happens, and but it just was not our plan. In fact, we had just talked about what we would do as far as a family planning option and when we were going to start having kids, and it was not right then. And little did we know she was already pregnant. But God has a plan, and we know that He's faithful. And so we were super nervous and scared at first, but then immediately realized that if what God says is true, that children are a treasure from the Lord, that there would be no negativity with this, that this would be, if this is God's plan and if we're obedient to Him, then this should not be a concern. And so we decided to just trust God at face value that He would provide. Well, that was a challenge because Carrie was teaching. She was earning the income and the insurance while I was in chiropractic school. And so our plan was she would teach, she would earn income, she would have our insurance coverage, I would go through chiropractic school, everything would be great. Perfectly planned out, right? Well, if you want to make God laugh, tell Him your plans. And so little did we know she was already pregnant. So as we processed through that, we made a commitment that we needed to make our decisions based on our values, not our circumstances. And our choice was an impossibly hard choice, and that was that Carrie would stay home from teaching to raise our daughter. We knew that our commitment was to raise God-fearing children, and we didn't believe that we could outsource the raising of our kids to a daycare or a nanny or anything like that. And while we don't judge people that do that, our personal convictions were that we would raise our own children personally. So Carrie decided we decided Carrie would resign from her position teaching and stay home with Jaden, and I would figure out how to work and go through chiropractic school, which again was not our plan. Well, as a result of that, she ended up staying home. My parents came down to visit once Jaden was born, and there were a series of horrible things that happened. Our basement flooded, just one thing after another happened. And so in the midst of all of this stress of making these decisions, we had to file an insurance claim because our basement flooded. And the very first month that we did not get any income from Carrie's teaching position because she had resigned, we got an insurance check to cover the cost of repairing our flooded basement. Now, what we didn't realize, we didn't even know that was going to happen. We just filed a claim so that it would be on file, ended up going to rent an air blower, pulled the carpet up, and we actually did all of the flood mitigation ourselves. So we didn't know we were going to get an insurance check, so we did all of that work ourselves. The insurance check that came, it was several months after the flood in our basement, but it was the very first month we didn't get a check from Carrie's school district for teaching. And it was to the penny exactly how much we needed. It was exactly how much she made, her net income from her monthly paycheck teaching school. Now, that's not a coincidence. And but God, that would not have happened. Mark Anthony, absolutely. That's totally God's provision. And I have so many more stories like that. Marge, God does provide, absolutely. And so I'm going to continue sharing these stories the rest of the week. Hashtag but God. That was something only God could have done. And we want our story to encourage you. And whatever it is you're facing right now, know that God is bigger than your circumstances. He's bigger than your fears. He's bigger than your worries. He's bigger than your doubts. And we want you to be encouraged. I'm Dr. Lazar. This has been Daily Dose with Dr. Lazar. I will be back tomorrow for another Daily Dose. Also, we have streamed this through multiple platforms, and it is live. It's not pre-recorded. Now, if you're not watching it live, then you're watching it from earlier. But I would love your feedback on whatever platform you're on. This is on all of our Facebook pages. It's on all of our YouTube channels, and it will eventually be, once the application goes through and gets approved, on our LinkedIn channel, because we really want to make sure that we're getting our message of hope and healing. If we can help you in any way in our office in Ann Arbor, get the pressure and stress out of your nerve system so that you can function during these difficult times, we would love the opportunity to do that. And next Monday, we are going to, at 8 p.m., we are going to be doing a live webinar where I'll be discussing the negative impact that the stress of COVID-19 is having on the health of your family and what you can do about it. God knows exactly what we need when we need it. Absolutely, he does. He's a good father, and we really are blessed to be on the receiving end of his love and grace that way. I'm Dr. Lazar. I'll be back tomorrow for another Daily Dose with Dr. Lazar. Thanks so much. Have your best day ever, and post your wins on here with hashtag but God. We'll see you tomorrow.